chance, and we come to the project that we are doing it now. I had the chance to be invited in this place, which is in the Marche region. You know what the Marche region is?
It's a little bit south.
Yeah, it's central Italy on the coast. It's a beautiful region.
Yeah.
Piero della Francesca, Raffaello, Urbino. Urbino is one of the most beautiful towns in Italy. But anyway, to this place, in a very, very small town, really small town, I had the chance to be invited to this final party of a project, which was called the Library of Legality. Okay, so legality is the main word. And I didn't know anything about that. So I went there as an author, as a writer, because I also write for children, you know. So I was invited to go and read and just participate to this big celebration, which was the end of 1 year work in the schools of that territory. And I found out and I discovered what had happened in a very small place in northern Italy, central Italy anyway, and in a place where we thought that there were no criminal organization, for example, you know, because it was something like connected with legality. What was the problem? In this small town, many years ago, a mafia boss had built his private home. And he lived there with his family. A very, very young daughter and an elder daughter, and his wife, of course. He had gone there, but in fact, the activities of his part of mafia group was up in the main wealthy cities of the north, you know, north of Milan, you know. So, but he needed to have a sort of a hiding place, you know. So he went there, and he did this really ugly house, you know, with a sort of a long corridor with all windows on the four sides of the house, of course, because he had to check, you know, whether the police or the carabinieri would just go. He had built walls, you know, around the house, and he was like hidden in the hills of this country. He was not in the town, he was outside the town. And from there, he would just like control all the criminal activities of you know, the Lombardia region. What happened? He thought he was like really a great man, you know, very smart. He went to the priest and he said, I'm going to buy you a new bell for your bell tower for your church. You know, the way that usually mafia or the criminal organization work in Italy, you know, because you know we have many criminal organizations. And so he had just introduced himself as a good man, you know, as a Catholic man that respects the place and wants to help the community. Okay. But what he did something which was very, very stupid. He did the same mistake that Al Capone did in the United States with mafia. He didn't pay electricity. He didn't pay the bill for electricity in his house. Of course, you know, after 2 months, the man from the electricity company would just go there, and he found himself 5 Rottweiler dogs ready to kill him. And so the little man said, yeah, bye-bye, just left, you know. And after 3 months, a second man went there, he found the same dogs, and he said, okay, this is it, I'm not going to die for the electricity company. But the third time, the police got there, of course. And then they found out that he was a boss, you know, of a criminal organization connected with mafia. So they just took him to jail in Milan. His wife and the elder girl had to go to Milan. His wife was in jail, you know, for complicity, of course, you know. And what was left in this small town? A little daughter and a house. And this is a problem. What can we do with this little daughter? Both her parents are in jail. The elder sister is in Milan, you know. She was living with an uncle. And what can we do? At this point, the mayor of this small town, it's called Isola del Piano, showed his community that he was a very good mayor. He just met the people and he said, we are going to adopt this little girl, and we are going to have to ask the judge to give us this sort of a farm, okay, the house. And then, what he did, he thought that maybe the girl, okay, it was just like, it involved the whole community to take care of this girl. They made him study, of course, going to school, going up to high school, and when she turned 18, the community asked her, what do you want to do? The father had died in the meantime. The mom was not in prison anymore because she was not a boss, of course, and they were living in Milan, and she just thanks the community a lot, but she said she wanted to go back to her family, of course, to her mom. So they just made a big celebration. They just gave her presents, and then she came back. The house was left. What can we do with that house? And that mayor thought of involving the young people, students of his small town, but really it were like just two at the beginning. And they said, he told them, what are you going to do? We're going to ask the judge to have this house. What do you want to do there? And they didn't stop and just say, oh my God, what we can do. We just say, just give it to us, and then we can just do something. And the fact was that when they got, the house, the first piece of furniture they received was a bookshelf. So people were just like bringing furniture, but the first one, it was a bookshelf. So they found this ugly house, really, with walls painted in red, for example. It was like the color of blood. I've seen it, and it's terrible, And then they had no furniture at all except a bookshelf. And so they just started to say, what can we do? We're just like waiting for other pieces of furniture. And then they decided to make a library of it. Tried to just fill the bookshelf with books. They asked cooperation with other people, and then little by little, that farm, which in Italy is fattoria, factory is fabbrica, but farm is fattoria, has become the fattoria della legalità. The farm of legality. It's
a nice story.
The project was, it's a nice story. I'm from a very, very tiny seed, a very nice plant came out, So they said, okay, I want that house to become something completely different, the opposite of what it was. It was the seed of crime, of violence, of rights not recognized. I want it to become something completely different, okay? I want to make it a place where all human beings can be exactly the same. Not only in front of the law, and then I will explain to you why we have these words written on the library, on the walls of the library. And then what he did, the mayor called some people who were judges in the local section of the National Judges Organization in Italy, and two women judges, two brilliant women. They decided to help this little house to become something really, the center of the movement, like in the rings in the water when you just throw a stones. That's the kind of movement they wanted to do that. They just called the main library of the most important town, which was close to this small town. They talked about the Italian Librarians Association, and they just constructed or just built this biblioteca della legalità, the library of legality. I went there as an author. I just went there. I had a great time, and then we found, of course, a dinner, which is a nice place. Eating is get your best ideas. I'm sure about that. That's why I'm a little fat anyway. And so we decided that that kind of project was not to be left alone in that small town, but it had to go all over Italy. Okay? So if you think that 2 years ago there was only that place, now we are 11 libraries of legality all over Italy. 11.